Hello YouTube, it's Silver Age Dave. Today is, I think, Thursday. Here in the comic room. Skipped Comic Book Wednesday altogether yesterday. Some days I skip, but I'm working on something pretty cool. It was kind of a tricky one for me. I've got this is Amazing Spider-Man 42. It's a great issue. I have a few copies of it, and I happened to get this free. I bought a collections years ago, and this was in it. And I've talked about keeping these types of things around, reader copies, and they're nice to have. But the copies that I have are fine if I want to read them. I'm not going to stress about it. I'll just read one of those. But I was going through, and I happened to be really enjoying this particular issue. And in this one, we've got Gwen Stacy is inviting Peter to a party, but Aunt May already has set up that he's going to meet Mary Jane. Okay, that happens way back here. And I just found it to be a neat issue. And there's a first meeting of Mary Jane. He didn't know what to expect. He was like real bummed. He's like, "Oh man," And then, "You mean that's Mary Jane?" he says, and she says, "Face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot." So, pretty confident Mary Jane there. But within this, there were a couple things that I really liked. The first one, this is the MMMS members, new members, and they're saying, "Hey, good news! Since last month, we've got 26 new members, and that's not a lot of members, We understand how big Marvel is today, but 26 a month, that's not growing by leaps and bounds. But on this page, they're talking about, different bulletins. They're talking about what's coming out in Marvel and what to expect. Marvel TV was starting to hit. And so this ad, I talk about saving ads. Look how brilliant that is. That is just beautiful. And this gives, the TV listings for the different places. WGN, Channel 9 Chicago. That's where I watched the Bozo Show the whole time I was growing up. I was actually on the Bozo Show a couple of times. And I was supposed to play in one of the games, but they ran out of time, so they gave me a box of Whoppers. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. That was a nice prize. And on the back of this, there's the MMS Still Wants You coupon, which I'll probably cut that out of here. This letter I find to be really interesting, talking about Spider-Man dying, basically, because he has some issue numbers, and he's saying now there's deteriorating artwork and inferior and inadequate opponents. So, I was watching, well, I won't even say who I was watching, but, there's always a challenge. You know what? I'll tell you who I was watching. I was watching Jim Comics, and Jim was talking about Batman, how they mishandled the wedding, and he stopped buying them, but then he started buying them again. And I got thinking about this guy who I think stuck with it, Mike Glickson, University of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And, it sounds like he owned all the issues. So what a score that was. So I'm gonna, sometimes I think, man, I should keep that letter because it's such a cool letter. He was, saying, "Hey, I'll critique Thor too if you want." And I imagine it was Stan replied, "Hey, we're looking forward to that," and so much so forth. So reading the letter pages are really cool. Here everyone's writing into Stan and John Romita. This is the reason I decided to cut this one up. Okay, and again, it's a broke down reader copy. This affects the story. Okay, it's taken out part of it, but I'm basically gonna mat this and hang it. See the new superheroes. Saturday morning TV is all we had when we were kids, and so this is something we could watch. And you know, there's a little bit of TV after school, I guess, but probably not a lot. We only had a few stations, but I saw this. The artwork was so brilliant, the colors. I thought, man, I just want to see that all the time. So I'm gonna cut this one up. I'll probably not cut that MMS. I think I'm gonna keep this one, which is really cool. But I might just put this in a Mylar so you can see the front and the back, because I think that's worth seeing. And there's a couple things out of here that I think are worth having, and so I'm going to make the most of it. I might keep the first meeting with Mary Jane Watson. I thought this whole page sums it up really well, how bummed Peter is, and then you know, how it apparently ends up working out for him is pretty good, right? Hits the jackpot. Anyway, guys, I'm going to keep it short. Silver Age Dave, thinking of you. I've got a room unveiling coming up soon. I'm trying not to show you a whole lot. Thanks to anyone who watches, subs, you know, checks us out, comments. I appreciate you. Silver Age Dave is out.